I'm Roy Lee Lindsay with the North Carolina Pork Council, and I want everyone to remember, bacon makes everything better.
Our next guest has had a truly extraordinary journey, from his native Australia to the United States decades ago, and as a successful head coach at both the professional and college levels, but also with the extremely unusual twists and turns in his career over these last 9 months. Aaron Fearne is the first-year head coach of the Charlotte 49ers, and until about 2 weeks ago, his official title was interim head coach. He was the team's associate head coach last season under Ron Sanchez, but Coach Sanchez decided last June to return to Virginia, where he had previously worked under Tony Bennett. Plugged into this unusual set of circumstances, Coach Fearne had such great success as the Niners' interim head coach. His team is in second place in the 14-team American Athletic Conference right now, with only 3 games left in the regular season, that Charlotte's AD, Mike Hill, removed the interim tag back on February 12th. This Saturday, the Niners host first place South Florida in one of the most anticipated games in Halton Arena in many years. Coach Aaron Fearne, welcome to the David Glenn Show, and congratulations on your amazing season so far. How are you?
No, I appreciate it, and appreciate you guys having me on the show.
Thank you. If I had told you last June that you would be near the top of the AAC and you would already be the full-time head coach of the 49ers by the end of February, would you have thought I was crazy?
Yes and no. I mean, I think the difficulty with college athletics and the prediction of where teams could be and will not be, like, I think it's so difficult these days. If you go back to the prediction of the preseason right now compared to where some teams are right now, very different, right? So yeah. I think that makes that clear that that's pretty hard to do. For this position here, like all I could control was doing what I believe in and what I've done in the past, and how I've got my teams to try and play and build on what we had built here, because we had done some good things, and just adding my little pieces to it. And, we've got a lot of guys coming back, and, we've done some good things. Guys have been fantastic, and just very grateful to have this opportunity.
For those who don't know, Charlotte was picked next to last in the preseason poll, and of course they are next to first as we have this conversation with Coach Fearne. As we get to know you a little bit better, Coach, take us back to the early 1990s when you decided to leave your native Australia and play college ball in the United States. You're 18 or 19 years old. You're traveling basically halfway across the globe. What was your mindset at that point?
Well, I played for an American coach in high school in New Zealand, Angelo Hill, played at Washington State back in the day, and then the pro coach in our hometown, Steve McKean. He coached the professional team, and he was very close with somebody in Minnesota, and set up an opportunity for me to come over here and play high school basketball. And yeah, 17 years old at the time. It's a big journey to travel over here by yourself and leave home, leave my brothers, leave my mom, and very, very difficult to do, no doubt about that. But an unbelievable opportunity, and has opened so many doors for me through this journey, and keep in contact with those people to this day, and all those people in Winona, Minnesota. And then I went and played JUCO ball, and then played college ball for Tim Miles at Mayville State, little NAI school up there in North Dakota, and had 2 fantastic seasons there, and learned so much from him, and keep in touch with him all the time. And it's been an awesome journey. And then obviously got back to Australia and got into the professional world, and now I'm here.
Basketball fans in our country might remember a guy like Andrew Gaze, who was a huge part of a Seton Hall special team in the late 1980s. He played in the NBA. And then I think the first Australian to make an NBA roster was Luke Longley on those Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls teams in the early 1990s. Did those types of stories get a lot of attention back in your homeland, or were they any part of your inspiration?
I mean, no doubt. Andrew is a legend of sport in our country. He's a 5-time Olympian. He was a flag bearer for our Olympic team, walking into the Olympic Stadium. I mean, he's the face of basketball in our country, and his dad Lindsay's in the Hall of Fame, and put basketball on the map in our country. And Luke Longley, obviously part of those great Chicago Bulls days, and winning championships and playing with one of the greatest players, in my opinion, the greatest player in the history of the game, and Michael, just growing the face of basketball in our country. I mean, those guys have been instrumental with that.
I hope I pronounced this correctly, because it's an important person in your world. But who is Guy Malloy, and why is he such an important part of your journey in life in basketball?
Yeah, Guy Malloy was an instrumental part, and still is a part of my life in the game. I played for him for a year professionally, and then he had a life-changing conversation with me to ask if I'd be interested in getting into coaching. And he gave me the option to play again, but there wasn't really an option. It was get into coaching, and I did. And he was hard on me to start my career. He expected a lot from me in the role that I was doing, and learn a lot. He set up the Cairns Taipans Academy at the time that I developed, and we had 2 NBA guys come through that with Nate Jarwai and Aaron Baines. The significance of that, I mean, to have 2 guys like that in little Cairns, Queensland, Australia. I mean, Cairns is a city of 150,000 on the far northeast coast of Australia, and to have 2 of those guys come along that ended up playing in the NBA was obviously very significant. We talked to each other. Guy and I talk to each other every couple of weeks about the game, and talk through set plays or culture or whatever it may be. And it's been an unbelievable resource. I'm forever grateful and thankful to him. I know he's really proud of what I've been able to do, but a lot of it's his credit. I mean, for guiding me along the way. And like we all are as young coaches, we're a little bit wild and enthusiastic, and I need to learn to be better in that space, and still learning obviously every day, but huge part of my life.
Charlotte coach Aaron Fearne is joining us on the David Glenn Show. In between those college playing days and your time with the Charlotte 49ers, you did spend about 20 years back in Australia, first as a player in the Queensland Basketball League and in the NBL. For those who don't know, that's Australia's version of the NBA. Then as an assistant coach, then as a very successful head coach who won a couple of league championships and several Coach of the Year awards. You got fired in 2018 after an amazing amount of success. What inspired you and your family at that stage to uproot yourselves and travel all the way halfway around the world another time to hook up with the Charlotte 49ers?
Well, it gets back to the Aaron Baines days when he played at Washington State. Ron Sanchez and I had known each other for a long time when Ron was an assistant there with Dick Bennett and Tony Bennett. And he was at the time recruiting Cody Statman, who ended up going to Virginia. It just became a bit of a perfect storm, if you want to call it that. Cody had committed to Virginia, and then a few weeks after that, Ron ended up getting the job here at Charlotte, and obviously asked if I'd be interested in joining his staff to get into the college world, and we did. My wife's from Minnesota. It was an opportunity to come back to the U.S. I mean, our kids, Tyler and Jazzy were in high school, so obviously a very difficult move for them, but they were unbelievable. They were troopers, moving from the other side of the world and going to a different high school and making new friends, and that was unbelievable to see them grow in that space. And and then been part of the Charlotte program that slowly got better over time. And, this isn't just a 1-year thing. This has been a 5-year, this is year 6 for us here. And all those little steps that we've taken to grow the culture and the talent and the style and all that stuff has obviously helped us to this point we are. We've got a lot of work to do ahead of us for sure, but that's how it all came about.
I hope this is not an obnoxious American question, but at some point, do people stop saying "good day, mate" and similar Aussie type things, or do you hear that occasionally in the Charlotte locker room?
I do. I mean, the players do, because I use that word a lot.
Okay.
That's a big part of Australian culture. Is how you doing, mate? All those types of things. So our guys think that's pretty cool. It's different, and so they'll call me that instead of coach and stuff like that, which I'm cool with. Like it's we're all in this together. Like this isn't. I don't want this to be a dictatorship type thing. Like this is we're all fighting for the same thing, and we want to have a bit of fun with it. And the Aussie slang comes out a little bit, which is fun.
Are there any other little terms that we should know?
No, that's the main one. I mean, that they would really kind of understand. And one of our core values is mateship. And so we talk about that every day, being a great mate, being a great teammate, what that means, and so we just kind of use that more than anything. A lot of the Australian other terms they wouldn't understand. So, they watch the odd Aussie show on TV or movie or, Crocodile Dundee or something like that. Those types of pretty popular ones. But, for the most part, it's just mate.
Whether you are moving locally, nationally, or even internationally, and whether you're a residential or commercial customer, please consider our friends at XL Moving and Storage, an award-winning Allied Van Lines agent with offices in Greensboro and Raleigh. Thanks to their 25 years of experience helping North Carolinians all across the state with their moving and storage needs, XL has become the trusted hometown North Carolina moving services company. Our good friends Jim Dorsett and Jody Hatley, along with their hardworking staff, offer customized, tailored relocation and storage solutions to the people of North Carolina and beyond. Visit them online today at xlms.com. That's EXCELMS.com. It feels like in American college basketball, 99% of coaching transitions happen in March and April.
Right.
Last June was when Coach Sanchez left for Virginia. Yep. Were you surprised in the moment? Was there a stretch where you and your colleagues thought you might be out of jobs? No
doubt.
Just tell us how that went, because it's amazing that you're part of the success story 9 months later.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, there was a lot of anger, frustration. I was ticked. Like, I wasn't happy. None of us were. The players weren't. It was very, very difficult for Ron too to make that decision at that time. I mean, he knew what was going on. Like it wasn't going to be easy for anybody, and there was a lot of emotion at that time. I mean, we all, as a staff, we didn't know if we were going to have a job. The players didn't know who the coach was going to be, if they were going to be here, if they were going to transfer. They had obviously had a 30-day window to transfer again, and but they dug their heels in, made it pretty clear what they would like to happen. And like I said to them when I officially got the job a couple of weeks ago, unbelievably thankful and forever in debt to them for their support. It would not be possible for us to be around here if it hadn't been for them. And that's what they got to understand. They got to believe that. But man, it was tough. It was a tough 2-3 week period when that all went down to the point where I was going to be interim, and had to go through the interview process. And yeah, it was very, very difficult for everybody, and emotionally very difficult for a lot of people, but an unbelievable growth opportunity there. I think I think the role and goal for any coach is just to try and get your team to unify, right?
Yeah.
And that was a unifying moment right there. There's no doubt about that. Right there that day. I mean, they locked arms together and went, "This is what we want to happen," and it was awesome. It was awesome to see it.
From the outside, Coach, you were the logical guy because you had tons of experience as a head coach. You already had the associate head coach label when Coach Sanchez left. But from the inside, I've just learned, and you just referenced it a little bit, these guys went to the administration as 21-year-old young men and said, Coach Fearne is the man for the job. Yep. That message does not always get received by the administration. Sometimes they roll their eyes.
Sure.
What do you recall about that? Because I would imagine it's on the short list of the most meaningful things that's ever happened to you in your coaching career.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I think I definitely coach guys hard. I did it as an assistant, and I want them to improve. I want them to be better. I want them to try to achieve things physically, mentally, emotionally that they don't think they can get to, but they can, and then they go, "Oh, I can do that." So it's not like I've been their best mates, if you want to call it that. Like I'd get after them, and still at that point when they, like I said, locked arms and dug their heels in and said, "Look, we want this. This is what we want to happen." Obviously, that means that they respected us a lot. But yeah, I mean, they did. They approached Mike Hill, our AD, and said, "Look, this is what we want. We know that this is the right way to go." But Mike had to do his thing too. He had to be the AD and go through the process that he wanted to go through, and that's fine. I mean, I've been in the pro world for a long time. I get it. It's a business, and it's a big decision. But it was stressful. I mean, Ron resigned, and the following week we had team camp starting and workout starting, and we had to run the program. And I just made it very clear to everybody around here and the players, like, invest in yourself. We'll invest in you. We'll try and make you as best as we can. And this process, just lock into this. We can't control this stuff on the outside, but we can control this right now. Let's run a great team camp. Let's really lock into workouts. Like, just get better, get better and represent yourself in a professional way. And because this is a bit like the pro world, this landscape these days, and you have to be professional, and you're not always going to like the decisions that are made, but control what you can control. And but yeah, that moment was pretty magical, to have that support. And but we do the same thing now. We coach them really hard. We hold them accountable. We have expectations. We have a culture in place. We demand excellence from each other, and we've been able to do some things, and hopefully we can keep growing.
I wonder your mindset on the first day of practice this season, Coach, because I know you mostly don't care that the media picked you next to last, if you care at all. But no. Coach Sanchez is gone. Your top two scorers from last season had transferred out. And, oh, by the way, you're leaving Conference USA for what seems to be a more challenging conference in the American Athletic Conference. I mean, that was a lot of layers of complexity. On day one of practice, in your heart, did you believe that this kind of success story was possible?
I knew we had some talent. Like, we've obviously got some size, and we returned a lot of people. So we had a very good understanding of our system and our culture. And so I wasn't going to throw out everything and just do what I want to do. I was going to build on what we do here, and just tweak it a little bit, get us to play a little bit differently. Hold guys accountable to what we're about. Did I think we could do what we're doing? I don't know what I really expected, to be honest. I'm a fairly short-term approach type person. Like, I just worry about practice tomorrow, like I don't
win the day.
Yeah, exactly right. We don't don't talk about, well, this is the major goal here. I mean, that's what everyone else talks about. Like there's so much that goes into just having a great practice and having a great next practice and then having a great game and trying to play as hard as we can and execute the best we can. And have we done that all the time? No, we haven't. But you're right. This American Conference is really tough. I mean, really, really difficult. There's some really good teams in this league that, by the experts' opinions, have probably underperformed a little bit. But it's so good. I mean, we went through a patch there. We played the 3 bottom teams in our league, and I felt like we're playing the 3 top teams in our league. That's how well they're coached. That's how hard the players play. How difficult it is systematically to attack their schemes and so on and so forth. And just like you said, just win the day, go out and just try and be good with that and play really hard. And then let's see where things go from there. And that's kind of how we've approached it.
The Lawson Insurance Group in Raleigh is a family-owned business led by 3 actual brothers who happen to be huge sports fans: Ken Lawson, Miller Lawson, and Michael Lawson. I know these guys, I trust these guys, and I send these guys my own insurance business and that of my family. The next time you have insurance needs, I hope you'll do the same. The Lawson Insurance Group is known for its commitment to community and its dedication to ensuring that North Carolinians and their businesses are prepared for life's inevitable challenges, with the reminder that as a high street insurance partner, Lawson Insurance Group offers local expertise and support that, combined with High Street's extensive national resources, means more choice and support for you as their client. To learn more, search Lawson Insurance Group online. The Lawson Insurance website will be the first link that pops up. Quick reminder that the 49ers are hosting first place South Florida in one of the most anticipated games at Halton Arena in many years. That is this Saturday, South Florida at Charlotte. When y'all beat Florida Atlantic, then ranked number 17 in the national polls, it was the program's first win over a ranked opponent in 11 years. And it turned out to be the beginning. You're now the owner of the longest winning streak in Charlotte 49ers basketball history. You guys won 8 straight. Right. Do you believe that beating FAU, a school that everybody knows about after what they did in the Final Four, on the way to the Final Four last year, do you believe those two things are connected? A confidence-boosting win over at Florida Atlantic, and then the longest winning streak in school history?
I mean, there is some there for sure. I mean, we played at SMU the first American Conference game of the school's history, right? And if I'm going to be honest, we got our asses kicked in the first half against them. Like, they just took it to us. And at halftime, we're like, man, we got to be way tougher, way more competitive. And the guys came out in the second half and were much, much better. So I think that kind of started a little bit. I think that was a bit of a wake up to us to go, man, this is what it's going to be like. This is going to be a long year if we can't get up to that level. And then obviously we had FAU come in here and at the time ranked, and, we got a history with them and being a Conference USA school. And we know that they went to the Final Four and they're really talented. And we came out and we played really tough. And we're just able to pull it out at the end because they made a massive run on us in the second half and we were able to hold them off. And then we sat there and went, man, this is how good we're going to have to be able to just win game after game. And I guess momentum's a wonderful thing, as you know. And our guys started to believe that the hard work that we'd been putting in and how hard they'd been coached and demanded from. And when you start to see a little bit of success with that, you start to believe a little bit more. And the more you have success, the harder you work because you want it to keep going. And when we did lose at South Florida, like, it hurt. Like, our guys were ticked. That locker room was not very happy after that game. And obviously we're really looking forward to playing them again. And it's going to be tough because they've got better and they have unbelievable momentum. They had great momentum even when we played them. And but I guess that's how it grows, and but it's It takes a lot of hard work to stay in that mindset and keep that edge. Because if you give up, if you let up a little bit, things can go sideways pretty quick.
A guy you mentioned, Mike Hill, the Charlotte athletic director, has complimented you publicly for a lot of different things, including, quote, completely re-energizing the program's fan base.
Right.
Is that energy entirely because the team is winning, which never hurts? Or are you out there in the community with the students, or is there like a marketing part of your job beyond the basketball court?
Oh, there's no doubt about promoting your program. There's no doubt about that. You have to do that. I mean, obviously the student base is re-energized. Their support has been unbelievable. Like it's an experience for them to come to a game at home here. Like it's electric in there, and they make it that way. And we all know that the community comes to watch the game, but they also come to watch our crazy student base do what they do. That's what it's about. It's all about an experience. I mean, we play a little different, but we play pretty hard. We really get after it defensively. We don't back down from anybody. We have a saying, we're going to step to it, and we'll take you on, and we'll fight and scrap and battle to the very last second. And sometimes we'll win some games and sometimes we won't, but be comfortable just playing your heart out and giving it everything you got. And, win or lose, we're still trying to find ways to grow, and you want the opposition to do the same thing. You want them to step to you and take you on and really compete and be professional and enjoy that just fierce competitive battle that you have when you play a basketball game. That's the way it should be. And be grateful for the opportunity, because a lot of people don't get to experience that environment, the competitive spirit from both teams, and us taking on them and me taking on you, and all those little things that go on within playing a game. So I think that's what our fan base appreciates more than the winning and losing. Winning and losing is great, but we have won a lot in this building in the past 5 years anyways. We've won close to 80% of our games in our building. So it's not like they haven't seen some success in here. I think it's about the way we go about what we do is what has re-energized this program, because that's what it was like. Had teams here that played that way, played really hard and edgy and chippy, and our fan base likes that.
He is Charlotte 49ers head coach Aaron Fearne. We're going to get you out of here with what we call our lightning round, Coach. It could be a one-word answer or a one-sentence answer. For example, we brag here in North Carolina that we're one of the only states in our country that has great beach houses, great lake houses, and great mountain houses. What would that pecking order be for the Fearne family? Beach house, lake house, mountain house.
I'm going beach, lake, mountain. I mean, I lived on the ocean in Australia, I lived in Cairns, Queensland, which is a tropical paradise, and being by the ocean is, definitely something I love.
Amen. Besides basketball, what sport or sports do you follow most closely?
I follow a lot of Australian sport, Australian rules football, rugby union, rugby league, those real physical, competitive sports. Cricket, that's obviously not a sport very familiar with a lot of people over here, but I played that as a younger kid. And and probably one thing that's a little left field, like I raced competitive motocross when I was younger. And so I'm a big racing sport fan too, I enjoy that too. So I'm I like a lot of sport, I can tell you that.
That's interesting, because you were plopped right in the middle of NASCAR country, which is a different type of racing, but man, you're surrounded by it right there in Charlotte.
No doubt.
All-time favorite trip, not counting the United States or Australia?
Well, I've been to China a couple of times. Just experiencing a different culture. I think that's what everybody needs to experience in life. Experiencing a different culture and country, and see how the other part of the world lives or countries live is life-changing. It's an unbelievable experience. And loved my time, up there and traveling around the world.
Favorite bands or musicians?
Well, I'm from Australia, and as a lot of people know, that AC/DC is from Australia.
Yes.
I definitely like some rock, and but I'm pretty open to all different types of music. Yeah, AC/DC is obviously well known and very well supported.
Hey, as an American, AC/DC is one of my 5 favorite bands of all time, man.
Is there a movie these days that one of their songs is not in? Those action types of movies. They're just timeless.
They're in a lot of movies, and they're in a lot of sports arenas.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No doubt.
You're going to hear an AC/DC tune somewhere along the line in almost every sporting event. Do you have you don't have to hit all of these, but a favorite actor or actress or author or artist, anything that strikes you there?
I don't. I'm probably an action movie type person. I like those types of movies or series that are that suspenseful type of action type thing. Just trying to gain knowledge for the game. Listening to podcasts or looking at books or listening to people just talk about their journeys and taking the little things that you can take out of what they've learned along the way. And I guess for me, I like to experiment with the game. That's what excites me, trying to do things a little bit different and make up things and see if they work and if they don't. And I've done that my whole career. And I think that's an exciting way to approach the game.
Last thing for you, our title sponsor here at the David Glenn Show is the North Carolina Pork Council. So we ask everybody, you've probably experienced Eastern-style barbecue and Lexington-style barbecue. Everybody's had bacon or pork or whatever. Do you have a favorite pork product, Coach Fearne?
I like a good, pulled pork type sandwich, that type of thing. I definitely like that type of barbecue when it comes to that type of thing, and probably a fairly regular thing in my diet, I would say, which maybe not great for you, but it's obviously, very popular around here, and that would probably be at the top of the list.
His name is Aaron Fearne. He is the very successful first-year head coach of the Charlotte 49ers. Coach, congratulations on your fun story, and thank you very much for your extended visit today on the David Glenn Show.
No, I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate the work that you do. Just getting people's stories out there is always fun, and it's been great chopping it up with you, and hope we get to do it again.
Thank you, sir. And remember, everybody, this Saturday, it's about as good as it gets at Halton Arena. Yeah. It is first place, South Florida. Yeah, Coach, if you have a parting shot or message to Niner Nation, man, go ahead. The floor is yours.
There's, 85,000 alumni in this area, and, we get to see a second-ranked team come into this building, which hasn't happened in a long, long time, and they're unbelievably well coached and super talented and had a very successful season. And we had an unbelievable battle at their place the first go around, and let's pack this arena out, man. It's not very often you get to see a ranked team come into Charlotte, and we're obviously doing some really good things. And, it's an unbelievable experience to be at a live sporting event in a massive crowd. So if you haven't done it before, get to Halton Arena on Saturday.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck the rest of the way.
No problem. Appreciate it.
Thanks to all of you for being with us today on the David Glenn Show and the North Carolina Sports Network.